hilltop, call up an army against Babylon. Raise a signal flag on a bare hilltop, call up an army against Babylon. Wave your hand to encourage them. Wave your hand to encourage them as they march into the palaces of the high and mighty. I, the Lord, have dedicated these soldiers for this task. Yes, I have called mighty warriors to express my anger. Yes, I have called mighty warriors to express my anger. And they will rejoice when I am exalted.
Hello, welcome to hour 2 of the Dr. Katherine Albrecht Show. I am Dr. Katherine Albrecht, and I am broadcasting live here on the Republic Broadcasting Network every Tuesday and Thursday from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. You can check me out on YouTube. Also, I am live streaming on YouTube, just the second time since, I don't know, last couple months, so it's good to be here. All right, I'm going to change gears a little bit. In the first hour of the program, I talked about Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. So if you want to check that out and understand the devil's tactics for creating division, polarization, and creating enemies out of all of us that explains where we're living today in 2026, then by all means check out that show. All right, this hour I want to talk about something pretty different. I want to talk about some research that I ran across recently that kind of concerned me. So, as you know, on this show, I talk frequently. Hang on, I got to turn the volume down. There we go. You know, in the show, I talk frequently about things that you should stop eating, that you should avoid. Particularly, I'm on kind of a kick right now against all of the emulsifiers in gums, the guar gums, the xanthan gums, the hydroxymethyl celluloses, all of the things in the 10,000 generally recognized as safe category that the FDA has approved of chemicals to be placed in our food. And in contrast, in Europe, they allow about 300 chemicals. So put that into perspective. 10,000 have been approved in the US, and in Europe, they're down to like 300. So we have a whole lot of garbage in our food. And if you ever go to Europe and you compare the health status of Americans, the obesity level, the just general, kind of look at people's faces and see if they look robust and healthy or if they look run down and not doing too great. It's because between 60 and 75% of the American diet consists of ultra-processed food. Very bad for you. So we already know that. I've been talking a lot about that on the show, warning you about avoiding certain foods, but I got to tell you something that kind of shocked me. I recently ran across an article, and this came out in 1968, but it's research that has been replicated in recent years. But all the way back in 1968, we knew about this. Are you ready? Contraceptive properties of, drumroll please, stevia. Stevia. Yeah, stevia. The artificial sweetener that, well, actually the natural plant-based sweetener that replaces sugar, the non-caloric diet version, or the version that doesn't raise your blood sugar, that doesn't cause an insulin spike, and is, I thought, good for you. All right, well, here's what I read. And then I'm going to share with you some other, some more recent research. But let me share this one. Been around since 1968. How come nobody's talking about this? A water decoction of the plant stevia rebaudiana bertoni reduces fertility in adult female rats of proven fertility. Now, what does that mean? They've been proved to be able to have little rat babies, and when you give them stevia, it reduces their ability to do that. The decoction continues to decrease fertility for at least 50 to 60 days after intake is stopped. The decoction did not affect appetite and apparently did not affect the health of adult rats, only their fertility. So one of the problems in today's society is we have got an epidemic of infertility, of people struggling to have children, people struggling to get pregnant. And what was the other statistic I saw recently? That the sperm count of American men has literally dropped in half in the last 50 years. So we are on the road, if we're not careful, of not just having social reasons for reducing the birth rate, but actually having physiological and biological and medical reasons for reducing the birth rate. This one blew my mind. I had no idea. In fact, I have done, I thought, pretty extensive research into stevia, because we know that the other artificial sweeteners, the ones that really are artificial, like the aspartame and the sucralose and erythritol, and there's a bunch of them, but those are the three that are popping into my head. Those have overt, immediate negative impacts on people. So I know that those are just unhealthy. They're just bad for you. And if you need a refresher on why they're bad for you, the sucralose and the aspartame, the things that go into your Diet Coke or your Diet Monster energy drink, which I used to drink, or into most chewing gum, really anything that is a low-calorie diet, sugar-free, etc., that stuff kills your microbiome. It actually changes the composition of your microbiome. It kills off the healthy microbes in your gut. And when you do not have healthy microbes in your gut, then you have all kinds of problems, ranging from everything from your immune system to your emotional regulation. And it can cause depression. It can lead to all kinds of problems just with your brain functioning properly, because you need that serotonin, you need the oxytocin, you need the dopamine, you need all of the things that the gut-brain connection is responsible for. So rather than consume artificial sweeteners and kill our gut-brain connection, we need to be consuming healthy foods, right? Prebiotics, the fiber-rich foods and vegetables, and fermented foods and sauerkraut and yogurt and things like that that are actually feeding our microbiome and leading to greater health. All right, well, so I knew about those. I knew about those, that you need to avoid that. By the way, the other one, as long as I'm mentioning this, is erythritol, Erythritol, I think is how you spell that one. Erythritol, and I had a big pound bag of it, and it's fluffy, so it was like this big, of erythritol in my kitchen for when I was doing keto. I was trying to do keto. It didn't work very well. My body doesn't like keto. But I was trying to do keto eating, and that is in virtually every recipe is erythritol. And it's also seen as a healthy alternative to sugar. Doesn't raise your blood sugar. It has a great glycemic index, et cetera, except for the fact that it is associated with stroke. And that is not just something that's bad for you, like saturated fats that over time aren't super good for you, or, fill in your whatever that over time creates chronic health problems or deficiencies. But erythritol is actually a toxin that immediately begins working as soon as you eat it to restrict your blood vessels and raise your risk of stroke and cause vascular problems. So stay away from erythritol, whatever you do. I've had to go through my kitchen, I probably got rid of like 2/3 of the things in my house practically. And when I'm at the grocery store, 2/3 of the things I pick up, I have to put back on the shelf, because they contain the guar gum, the emulsifier, the xanthan gum, the hydroxymethylcellulose, the aspartame, the sucralose, the erythritol, the hydrogenated anything, the soybean oil, the whatever the ingredients might be. But I'll tell you, the one that blew my mind, stevia. Stevia. All right, let me read. So bad. All right, so that article came out in 1968. That actually tested rats and found that the consumption of stevia in a dose-dependent way, which means the more stevia you consume, the harder it will be to conceive, affected the fertility of those rats. Who knew? And why is nobody talking about that? I've never heard this. Let me know. Let me open up the phone lines here. Call in if you've ever heard this statistic before. If you've ever heard this, here's the text number, putting it up on the screen for people at YouTube. Caller number, let me read this one, 512-248-8252. I do have my caller window open, so if you do call, I'll do my level best to get you on the air within a couple minutes of your phone call. So I'm turning over a new leaf, going to do a better job with that. I've got my window open. Analog Dave helped me increase the size of my font and window so I can see it there, and I'll bring you guys up. All right, 512-248-8252 is the call-in number, and if you want to text in, 512-337-9443. Have you ever heard, because maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just late to the party, have you ever heard that stevia impacts fertility? No idea. Absolutely no idea. All right, let me go on and let me read you the titles of some of these other articles. And for people who have not heard my discussion on how you can do medical research yourself, you do not need a doctor. You don't need me. You don't need anybody to show you this. You can go online. You can go to pubmed.gov, P-U-B-M-E-D, and I think that was originally named after Club Med, the Club Med vacation, the antidote to civilization for those of us of a certain age. But PubMed stands for Public Medicine. It is the website repository that lists all of the peer-reviewed academic journal articles in the areas of health and mental health. And it is put out by the National Institutes of Health. And so researchers use this. It is the place that they go to do their research. And so it's the place you need to be going to do your own research. It is public medicine. So if you go to pubmed.gov and you put in, let's see, what search did I do? I think I did a search for stevia and fertility. And a whole ton of articles came up, just tons and tons. And I was like, wow, I had no idea. I'm going to read you some of the titles. Oxidative DNA preventative activity and antioxidant potential of stevia ribaudiana bertonia natural sweetener. Now, these are the ones that I saw before. These are the similar articles that I saw. Is it prevents oxidative damage, and it's antioxidant, and it's good for you. Everything I've ever seen about stevia is that it's good for you. Here's another one. Evaluation of supplementary stevia leaves and stevioside in broiler diets. All right, that has to do with, like, you can even feed stevia to broilers, which are chickens that are being raised not for their eggs, but being raised for their meat. Those are broilers, and giving them stevia is good for them. All right. A critical review. Now here's the ones that I'm concerned about. This one came out 2008, a critical review of the genetic toxicity of steviol and steviol glycosides. Give me a break. Yeah. So lots of things that are both good and bad. What is the big takeaway from this? Well, the small takeaway is yikes. If you're having difficulty conceiving, you probably need to go into PubMed, and you probably need to look up whatever it is, supplements you're taking, everything you're using that's not just part of a standard diet, like, eggs and bread and burgers, I don't know. Look up anything unusual and look it up with relation to fertility. All right, stay tuned.
Every day. Yet when you hear me on the radio, there's a spring in my step and a smile in my voice. How is that possible with all the bad news I have to plow through each day? The answer is a simple one. It's because of my relationship with God.
Testing.
I come to Him with my prayers, faith, and love, and He rewards me with protection, courage, and calm. He meets all my needs and opens doors for me when they need to be opened. God wants that kind of relationship with you too. To find the comfort and security that comes from knowing the God of the universe, the loving God who made you, you can start by reading the book of Matthew. It's the first book of the New Testament, about 2/3 of the way through your Bible. Pray before you begin reading. Ask God to touch your heart and let you feel His love. The Lord wants to save you from the ravening beast that's nipping at all of our heels. He wants to embrace you as His beloved child and meet all your needs. Give Him a chance to do it. Read the book of Matthew today.
Sorry, YouTube guys. I have no idea what's going on here. Yeah. How about that?
And on the lips of infants, mere children's cries, hush the proud deceiver, majesty in humble guise. Ponder your heavens, the awesome work of your hands. Full moon and starlight, each you've set in their place. What are we that you are mindful? Frail as human flesh, yet just beneath the angels,
Just beneath the angels.
crowned
Right.
with blessedness.
I'm back. Katherine Albrecht here. Sorry about the couple of technical problems. There's still a little bit of an echo. I've been hearing that my volume is a little low. I hope it is a little better now. And I'm going to keep my promise to go right to the phone lines. We've got Scott in Arizona calling. Hi, Scott.
Hi. I'm calling about those sweeteners.
Yeah.
So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, of course. It's looking like cane sugars want the way to go compared to the like aspartame and
I know it, right? Yeah, I know.
high fructose.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right. The natural sugars, I don't buy white refined bleach sugar anymore. And if you go into the grocery store and you just buy sugar, you will get genetically modified beet sugar unless you buy the one that says cane sugar. To my knowledge, cane sugar has not been genetically modified, but the beet sugar has been genetically modified to withstand, I think it's been modified to withstand glyphosate, so it's probably just drowning in chemicals. It's also been bleached. So I go to Aldi where the prices are lower and I buy those kind of a brown looking sugar. It's not brown sugar, it's like regular crystals, but it's a darker color and it hasn't been refined. But I'm with you. I think we need to pretty much take all of these newfangled artificial sweeteners and just throw them out the window and maybe have a little more self control about sweets. What do you use?
Well, my situation, I have a adopted 8-year-old with ADHD,
Mm.
and you can't go anywhere like gas stations and stuff. There's nothing in there that's edible,
Nothing.
really.
Nothing.
The grocery stores are getting that way too. But
Yeah.
he has to get something. And right now it's the lesser of the two, I guess.
I know. So when I go into the grocery store, or when I went, into the, because I just did a cross country road trip too, and I would go into the gas station, mini marts, and there was nothing in there. If push came to shove, I would get an orange juice or an apple juice rather than an artificially sweetened beverage or something with corn syrup. Some of them now have started having that little section in the middle, that like refrigerated low case that they have boiled eggs and sometimes packs of pickles and stuff like that. I'm hoping that that will expand and we'll start to see healthier beverages. What I would love to see in the supermarket, in those drug and gas station markets, there we go, is just sparkling water with flavor but no sweetener of any kind. So yeah, it's hard. And with your 8-year-old, I'm sure if you've done the research, that so many of the ultra processed foods are horrific for children with ADHD. I mean, they're bad for children in general, but you give them to kids with ADHD and their bodies just don't know how to handle them. Everything from the artificial colors, the sweeteners, the flavors,
the dyes.
Yeah.
Are just
dyes.
really, dyes are really
Terrible.
bad.
It's
I can tell.
Yeah.
The way they affect him.
So you know what I've been doing? If you heard my show on Tuesday or in previous weeks, I've been kind of fasting. So I started a full fast, a regular fast. I did that for 5 days, and then I switched to a protein-sparing modified fast, which is essentially keto. I have not had anything sweet in a couple weeks, like literally nothing sweet, not even a piece of fruit. I've had nothing sweet because those are carbs and they'll break your fast. And what I'm realizing eating like this is how much we rely on having a sweet thing all the time, every day, every meal, every time we want a snack, we get something sweet. Having gone without sweets for 3 weeks, I'm realizing that our ancestors went without sweets most of the time. They considered it a big deal if they found a honeycomb, if they found a beehive. It was a huge deal because they could have sweets for a little while. But our ancestors didn't have sugar cane. Our ancestors didn't have sugar beets. Our ancestors didn't have a way to obtain sweets. And so I think sweets, they're not even really meant to be a regular part of our diet, just an occasional treat. You find a piece of fruit or you find a honeycomb and your whole, village enjoys sweets for a week, but that was it. So I think we need to move back to a place where we're not having to rely on natural sweeteners or even cane sugar, but maybe just reduce our sweet tooth, our taste for sweets. How often would you say that your 8-year-old is consuming sugar?
Couple times a day.
Yeah. And that seems normal, right? Like in our society, that's perfectly normal. That's not strange. I mean, people have dessert and they have snacks and they have yogurt with sugar in the morning for breakfast, and they have breakfast cereal. And but if you think about our ancestors, even in the 1800s, even in the early 1900s, people did not have a way to get sugar a couple times a day. It just wasn't available. So
they had the maple trees, and some of those trees were sweeteners.
And only in certain parts of the world, though, right? I'm from New Hampshire.
Right.
I lived in New Hampshire, and it's a big deal to sugar the maple trees. But that's just Canada, Vermont, New Hampshire. You're not going to be finding that if you're living in Arizona.
But some of the stuff is sweet. There's some berries and stuff, but yeah.
Well, and that's
Or
natural,
salt.
right? Because
hardly
sweets
even
were meant to
salt
go with
here.
the fiber. If you eat the fruit, you're eating berries, you're getting tons of fiber. I was out for a walk today in the woods here in
Right.
Michigan, and I was picking blackberries just growing wild along the trail. And as I was eating my, 5 or 6 blackberries, are tiny, I was thinking, wow, this is more fiber than anything else because it was all seeds. That's the way our bodies are meant to process sugar, because the fiber slows down the absorption of the sugar and makes it less unhealthy for us. So if he's going to be eating sweets, at least try to add some fiber with the meal that has the sweets. And you might have to look around a little bit and figure out how to do that. But if you eat fiber together with sugar, it mitigates a lot of the insulin damage that the sugar does. And I think, I haven't looked it up, but for people with ADHD, it might actually help to incorporate that fiber in with the sugar and just reduce that sugar rush or the big outflow of insulin. Go to PubMed.gov and you can actually look that up, like sources for fiber, and maybe see if you can find something for him. So, yeah. Well, thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. Thank you, Scott. Thanks for listening.
Bet.
All right. Phone lines are open, and I'm doing a better job here. 512-248-8252 of actually seeing them because I have it right here in front of me. And now I'm going to try something. Let me see if I can make this work. I got it. All right, here's another story for those of you on YouTube that is absolutely blew my mind. So Jamaica, which is the, if you grew up in Southern California or in the Southwest, you know Jamaica as the Mexican drink that is purple like Kool-Aid, and it is made from hibiscus flowers. All right, well, when we come back, I'm going to tell you some health problems associated with Jamaica that also blew my mind. All right, I'm Dr. Katherine Albrecht, and stay tuned. I'll be right back.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Therefore, humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time. Therefore, humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time. Casting all your care upon him, casting all your worries upon him, for he cares for you. He cares for you. He cares. He cares for you. Stay alert, watch out for your great enemy. He prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. Stand firm against him and be strong in your faith, casting all your worries upon him, casting all your care upon him, for he cares for you. He cares for you. He cares. He cares for you. All power to him forever. 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 So after you have suffered a little while, peace flowing like a gentle river, righteousness rolling over you like waves in the sea. Peace.
Hey, I'm back. I love this song. I could let it play a while, but I got a lot to talk about, so I'm going to get back. All right, I'm going to show you, if I can get over to my little window here, I'm going to show you a couple things. So I want to talk about, hang on, hibiscus. There we go. All right, effect of extract of hibiscus on the ultrastructure of the testicles, in adult mice. Now, this one came out in 2012. Now, I kind of knew this. Hibiscus, or Jamaica, agua de Jamaica, or Jamaica water, that usually goes along with tamarindo, agua de tamarindo, tamarind water, and horchata, which is the cinnamon rice drink that you can find in Mexican restaurants throughout the Southwest and other places. One of those is Jamaica. It's a bright red Kool-Aid-like drink. It tastes like Kool-Aid. It's very refreshing. It's sweet. It's fruity flavored. It's kind of like fruit punch. And I have been drinking a lot of hibiscus tea sweetened with stevia. So, fortunately, I've already had my kids. I don't need to worry about fertility. But if I was worried about fertility, that would probably be the worst possible thing I could be drinking and have in my home, because the stevia would be affecting my own female fertility, and the Jamaica or hibiscus would be affecting the fertility of my husband. So let me go back and show you that research, and then I'm gonna take this in a different direction, a little bit of a different direction. I'm gonna show you how to do your own research, so you don't need to rely on me to find these things out. All right, wrong. There we go. Okay. So this is the National Institutes of Health National Library of Medicine. It is pubmed.gov, as I mentioned before. And this article, let me read it for you. It says here at the top, Acta Histochem, whatever that is. I can click it if I want to know what journal it was published in, but suffice to say, this was published in a peer-reviewed academic journal. This is legitimate scholarship and research that's been reviewed by experts, and hopefully is accurate. Okay. Effect of extract of hibiscus on the ultrastructure of the testes in adult mice. If you're following along on YouTube, you will see here on this page, you'll see the abstract here. The abstract is one paragraph. Sometimes it's a big honkin' huge paragraph, but it's one paragraph, and it gives you the summary of everything. Usually with these articles, you don't even need to read the article. The abstract is enough. Let's read the abstract together. And again, this is an academic article, so bear with me if this seems a little bit technical. Here we go. Hibiscus sabdarifa extract is a popular beverage in many tropical and subtropical countries. Although hibiscus tea is known for its medicinal effects for thousands of years, scientific evidence of its systemic safety is very limited. The current study aimed to assess the potential adverse or negative effects of hibiscus extract on sperm morphology. Morphology means shape, right? Morphology, and testicular ultrastructure of albino mice. 30 adult male albino mice were divided into 3 equal groups, and they were given one of these 3 things. They were either given distilled water or cold hibiscus aqueous extract, otherwise known as tea, and C, boiled hibiscus aqueous extract. So they either got water, they got cold brew hibiscus tea, or they got boiling brew hibiscus tea. Okay, what happened to them? Let's see. Hibiscus extract was administered orally daily for 4 weeks in a dose of 200 milligrams per kilogram body weight per mouse. I would have to do the breakdown and see how much that is for an adult human. Sometimes these things are ridiculous. You'd have to drink like 50 gallons of it a day to get the equivalent. I don't know what this equivalent is, but we can surmise from it that, we can basically conclude what it generally does. And the more hibiscus tea you drink, the more it would do to you, and the less you drank, the less it would do. But here's its effect. 24 hours after the last treatment, they had it every day for 4 weeks, mice were decapitated, horrible, and the testes and epididymides were excised, cut out, so they basically cut them apart, and processed them for transmission electron microscopy, meaning they put them under a microscope, to assess ultrastructural and sperm abnormalities. So basically, in summary, they took 30 mice, gave them 3 different kinds of drinks, and then took a look at their testicles and their sperm. What did they find? The results clearly demonstrate that aqueous extracts from dried calyx of H. sabidarifa, in other words, hibiscus leaves, either cold or boiled, alter normal sperm morphology or shape, alter the shape of sperm, and testicular ultrastructure and adversely, negatively, influence the male reproductive fertility in albino mice. Oh, who knew? So we've got people in tropical countries drinking hibiscus tea like it's gone out of style, and I'm one of them. I will make a gallon of hibiscus tea and put it in my fridge with stevia, thinking that I'm doing something good for my health because I'm avoiding other beverages. But I think the main beverage I need to be drinking is unsweetened, plain old regular black tea or green tea, which we know is healthy for you, or because that's been really well studied, or just water. Right? I think I'm ready to give up drinking anything regularly or eating anything regularly, and everything in moderation. Not everything, but most things in moderation are okay. So what did the results show? 30 mice given water, given cold brew hibiscus tea, given hot hibiscus tea, and what were the results after 4 weeks of doing this? The results were misshapen sperm and a difference in their testicular structures. So this affects their fertility, obviously. If you are in a marriage, in a family, in a situation where there is infertility going on, you probably want to take a close look at things like stevia, at things like jamaica or hibiscus tea. Double check. See what it is. What's in your fridge? What are you consuming? What's in it? What are the chemicals in it? What supplements are you taking? Go on PubMed.gov. I'll get you over here to PubMed.gov in a sec. All right, well, let me finish. I'll read the end of this, and then I'm going to click you back up to PubMed and show you how to do this search yourself. The results clearly demonstrate that it alters blah, blah, blah. The data suggests that hibiscus extract should be consumed with caution, and reasonable estimates of the human risk associated with its consumption should be provided. I don't know that anybody's warning anybody about this. Yeah. Looking down, so here we are, we're on PubMed. If you're on YouTube, you can see this. I've got the PubMed, here's the search, here's the article that popped up, here's the date, 2012, and then I can scroll down. Oh, I've got a call. What time is it? I think we have time. All right, let's go to James in Vancouver. Go ahead. James, are you with me?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I can make sweets from cactus and agave down in the desert there.
Oh, gosh,
And,
agave. Thank you for mentioning agave.
Oh,
Watch this.
yeah.
Are you on YouTube by any chance?
Right. Nope.
All right, well, I'm going to click up my...
I'm not that technical.
That's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to click up my PubMed, and I'm going to look up agave for you. I'm doing this right here on the public, and everybody else can learn as I do this. So agave syrup, and I'm going to look up agave syrup health. All right, let me tell you what we find. Hang on. Versus, that's not what I want. Agave syrup. Let me look up insulin. Because I remember reading some not so good things about it, about agave. So
you know, of course, these natural sugars have been around for millions of years and are part of our evolution, right?
But how much were people eating?
Sucrose and fructose. Well, you know, it was in there.
So,
but there's a... well, let me help you out with sugar. Not all sugars are the same structurally. There's this thing called mutarotation, which I won't explain today. M-U-T-A, and then rotation as going round and round. Okay, so if the sugar has mutarotation, it's easily to digest. Sucrose, unfortunately, the white sugar does not have mutarotation. Very difficult, must be hydrolyzed through the liver to digest. Back to you.
Okay. Well, so repeat the phrase so we can write it down.
Mutarotation. M-U-T-A-R-O-T-A-T. Mutarotation, yes. It's in organic chemistry, right out of second year.
I'll look it up. Thank you. I've never taken organic chemistry.
Okay.
All right. So I have a
okay.
couple of.
Yeah.
Couldn't find it in
agave.
PubMed, but there is a lot of discussion about agave, whether it is or isn't healthier than sugar or et cetera. It has a lower glycemic index, but it's high in fructose, as
Yeah.
you're aware. So I think my
Yeah.
earlier point still stands that agave is natural, as is maple syrup, as is honey, as are
Right.
cane sugar extracts, et cetera, et
Ah,
cetera.
yeah.
So they're
Maple
obviously,
syrup has the.
you know,
Sorry to interrupt. Maple syrup has the sucrose in it. I checked. Okay, it's right in the tree, and boiling it doesn't make a difference. See, it's a biochemical difference there. So,
but I think what I'm trying to say though is these are
right.
not artificial chemically derived things. You're right to say that they've been around. We've been consuming them for
Yeah.
thousands of years, but we haven't been consuming them in enormous quantities. That's
Right.
the difference.
But the problem here is when you look at the people who manufacture the colas, the cola industry, these guys aren't stupid. They've got Diet Cola out there because it does not put a strain on the liver and the pancreas. And so the diabetics can choose the non-sugar sugar.
The artificial version.
Because
And not only
the artificial
diabetics,
version
but
doesn't. Mhm.
I'm sorry, but as a woman who's watches my weight, I used to practically live
Yeah.
on Diet Coke because it doesn't cause weight
Well,
gain.
yeah.
At least that's what we believed. Now we, of course, we've found out that it's associated with weight gain because it
Yeah.
throws off the body's ability
Well,
to process. Yeah. But thank you for
I
that.
lived on Diet Cola for 28 years in Taiwan because the water's not drinkable. So Diet Cola saved my life. But I'll let you go. Thanks for taking the call.
Thank you. Appreciate your calling in.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, James. All right.
Absolutely.
So let me get back to my. All right. Well, where's my?
Let's skip. We need to skip the break. Yeah, we're gonna skip the break. Go ahead.
We're gonna skip the break. Okay, no problem. All right. So I'm going back here to PubMed, and I'm just gonna talk you guys through how to use PubMed. So why is this not popping up here? Agave. What is my? That's not what I want. All right, well, YouTube, I'm afraid you're just going to have to stick with me for a minute while I do this. So on PubMed, you can type in whatever it is. So if you're eating agave and you're concerned maybe that agave has an issue with fertility, it doesn't as far as I know, but I'm going to double check. I'm going to look up agave and fertility and see if I get anything. And this is the kind of thing that I do when I'm preparing for the show. Before I recommend something, I usually do this kind of a search. And I did this on stevia, and I only found the good things. I didn't find the fertility issues. So if you're struggling with something in particular, like fertility, look up the word and the word fertility, and you'll probably find something. So let's see. Mexican plants and human fertility. Oh, here we go. There is something. It says, let me see. This is chemical source. Is this agave? Mexican plants and human fertility. They're looking for contraceptive pills. Is agave even in here? You can also, I wish I could show you this on the screen, but you can use your browser and you can do find in page, or you can just go Control F and you can look up your word. So I'm going to look up agave in this Mexican plant article, and it says it's mentioned 3 times. So now I can zoom right into it. For example, scientists in the People's Republic of China had reported significant anti-fertility effects associated with 2 substances, anordin and dinordin, prepared with steroids derived from the sisal plants agave cisalana and agave americana. Those agents, whose anti-fertility properties have been confirmed by scientists in Sweden and the U.S., constitute a new family of contraceptives with the great advantage of having to be taken only once or twice instead of 20 times a month, as is necessary with the pill. Now, that to me is, here, let me get you, yeah, you got me there. That to me is like a little thread. So I'm going to pull that thread. I'm going to make my way back and see, is it true that agave, of all things, I never knew this before, I'm looking it up as we speak, but could agave possibly have contraceptive effects? Could it possibly impair fertility? I do not know, but this looks like kind of a little smoking clue, and I'm going to follow it up. And if it turns out that it does affect fertility, well, shoot, I got to scratch one more thing off my list if I'm looking to conceive. If, on the other hand, I'm not looking to conceive and I see no other problems associated with it, right? It doesn't matter if it impairs fertility necessarily, although maybe it does. Maybe it has hormonal differences. So you can actually, let's see. James wanted to remind us that he comes from agave. I'm not sure. Call back to mention that. I'm not sure I understand that. I don't know if agave is a place, but
tequila comes from agave.
Tequila. All right, tequila comes from agave. Yes, indeed it does. Sometimes with the worm in the bottom, the mezcal. So yeah. And in fact, if you're going to brew spirits, you have to have some form of sugar in there because that's what ferments and turns into the spirit. So it's not surprising that the things that we can use for sweeteners, like grapes and I don't know, we don't really use potatoes for sweeteners, but they have a lot of starch. But the liquors typically have a lot of starch and sometimes a lot of sugar in them. All right, so I don't know about this. This is my little smoking gun, my little tiny smoking gun. Why can I not get this up on my YouTube screen? Try one more time. Is that it? Yeah, I did get it up on my YouTube screen. All right, so those of you on YouTube, you can actually see this. I searched for agave and fertility. The one article I found is from 1979 on Mexican plants and fertility. And then I scrolled down and I found this mention of agave. Now, I'm going to show you one more thing that I've found really useful, and maybe you can find something like this for whatever health condition you're concerned about, and that is food for breast cancer. And as you may know, I'm a breast cancer survivor. There is a website called Food for Breast Cancer, made by a wonderful friend of humanity from UCLA. And she has put up basically she spends all her time doing what I do, researching things and putting them on this website. And she has news, 7/6/26, the most recent one 3 years ago. She's been doing this for years and years and years. News about breast cancer, but also recommended foods, and then foods to avoid. And one of the things that I can do on this website, because I'm a breast cancer survivor, if somebody says, hey, Katherine, you need to be eating a lot of agave. Okay, fine. I'll go on here onto foodforbreastcancer.com. And there's a little search. You click on foods to avoid. There's a little search on the right, and I type in agave. Let's hit enter and see what we get. And here it is. The following foods have been linked specifically to potential increases in the risk of triple-negative breast cancer due to its progression. Agave nectar. Oh, no. So here's the article. Oh, page not found. Let's see. But what I can do now is I can go to PubMed, because that's a 404 error. The page got removed. But it says agave nectar may increase the risk of breast cancer. So now I'm going to head on over to PubMed, pubmed.gov, gov, and I'm going to put in agave breast cancer, and let's see what I find. Your search retrieves 0 results. Okay, how about agave cancer? And I'm looking through, and again, you just kind of cruise through. You don't have to click them all up. You're just looking, is there anything in here? Here's one. Dextran, produced by native strains isolated of agave salmiana, guess there's a lot of different kinds, inhibits prostate and colon cancer cell growth. All right, that's good. Apoptotic potential role of agave palmieri, or palmieri. Apoptotic means it kills cancer cells. All right, that all sounds pretty good. And by the way, this happens to me all the time, where I'll find a bunch of things saying it's good and then one smoking gun saying, actually, no. And this happened to me originally with all of those emulsifiers and gums. All right. Agave. I wish I had the link that she had put. Let me go back to her website. Studies have not established the effect of corn on breast cancer. And now I'm going to do Control F. Watch me do it. Control F on this page, because it's a big page. I'm going to search for agave, and there it is. Note that agave nectar has an even higher fructose content than high fructose corn syrup and should be limited or avoided. I'll read you the paragraph from that. This is how I do my research, by the way. This is what I want to train you guys to do. Breast cancer cell metabolism is characterized by enhanced uptake and use of glucose. Fructose is normally barely metabolized in breast cancer cells. However, when glucose is not available, fructose can be used instead by breast cancer cells. A 2024 study reported that the liver can convert fructose into usable nutrients for cancer cells, suggesting a diet abundant in high fructose corn syrup could promote the progression of breast cancer. Note that agave nectar has an even higher fructose content than high fructose corn syrup, should be limited or avoided. All right, so I'm telling you just kind of my preliminary beginning research, and I would probably spend an hour or two more on this if I were, hang on, let me bring my face back onto the screen. I would spend probably a little more time researching this if it were something I were looking into. But my preliminary research that I just did here on the fly with you in the last 10-15 minutes shows me that agave syrup may have some downsides. Maybe as a contraceptive, maybe to reduce fertility, maybe to feed breast cancer cells. I don't know. I saw some other upsides to it too. So the only way you're going to reach a conclusion is by actually doing some research. You need to spend some time. And so foodforbreastcancer.com is where I go before I take a supplement. Somebody says, oh, so there was one recently, NAC, I think it is. They were saying NAC is really good for, when you get older, and it helps all your cells and blah, blah, blah. And so I looked it up and I was like, oh my gosh, this stuff promotes cancer, not touching it with a 10-foot pole. So if you don't have cancer, you probably don't have to worry about it. But if you do, the last thing in the world you want to be taking is something that promotes stem cell progression and growth, because that will promote cancer cell progression and growth. So I do my research before I take supplements. Right now I'm taking 2 supplements. I take hawthorn for my heart, because I think everybody of a certain age should take hawthorn. It's just a berry that grows in a plant. It's a fruit. They make candy out of it in Asian countries and China, and they make jam out of it in England. It's just like a cherry growing in a tree, but it's a hawthorn growing in a tree. You have to cook it, though. It's not super delicious on its own, from what I've heard. But I take a hawthorn supplement because it is really good for the heart. And what's the other one I'm taking? Berberine. No. Yeah, berberine. Berberine, because it helps with fasting. So it helps with appetite. It's been called the natural Ozempic. Yeah. So those are the 2 that I'm currently taking. And I'm not going to take either one of them for more than a couple weeks, because there's really nothing that I want to put in my body on a regular basis, whether it's eggs, whether it's milk, whether it's, I don't know, bok choy. There's nothing that I want to eat regularly every single day because of the potential risk for downside. So I'm just going to mix it all up, just kind of keep it moving. All right, let's see. Go into my little chat room here. There's too many windows open for me to even find it. So what is the takeaway from here? The takeaway from this is that you really cannot rely on someone telling you, hey, stevia is good for you. Hey, hibiscus tea, drink all of it you want. If you have a health condition, whether it is infertility, whether it is you're attempting to conceive, or whether your health issue is breast cancer, or maybe it's something else. Maybe it's Parkinson's. Maybe it is insulin-resistant diabetes. Maybe it is glaucoma. Maybe it is eyesight issues. Maybe it is gastrointestinal problems. Whatever your problem is, do research and look at the things that you're putting in your body and make sure that none of them is going against what you need. Hopefully there's a foodforbreastcancer.com version or equivalent website for other health conditions. I haven't really looked to find them. If you know of them, please go to my website, Katherine-Albrecht.com, and message me in the bottom of the contact form there, the bottom of the menu. Meanwhile, those of you in YouTube land, thanks for tuning in. I'm sorry about the first hour, having the wrong date on it. I'll get that fixed. And please like and subscribe. Thank you. I appreciate when you guys do that, because we're trying to get up to a certain number. We're aiming for it. So yeah, subscribe. All right. Thank you so much for listening. I won't be here Tuesday because that's when I have my community mental health meeting, but we will be playing music for Tuesday's show. All right. Make sure to tune in, and I'll see you guys next week on Thursday. All right. God bless you. Thanks for listening. Bye.
As an individual in good physical